Ann Arbor has many streets with unusual names like Hikone and Felt Street. But have you ever heard of the Greenway? I am delighted to have as my guests 3 U of M Master of Landscape Architecture candidates, Ariel Shaw, Jordan Sebastian, and Peter Sanderson. As their master's project, they chose to become involved in a concept that has been talked about in Ann Arbor for decades. They have undertaken to give life to the vision. For more than a year, the Allen Creek Greenway Conservancy has collaborated with Jordan, Ariel, and Peter in their design for a greenway. I have seen their master's project presentation and was so impressed that I wanted to share their transforming vision with you. Also with me tonight to join in the conversation is a member of the board of the Allen Creek Greenway Conservancy, an active member of the community, a leader promoting a corridor connecting your urban green spaces, architect Alice Ralph. The Conservancy and landscape architecture meet to enrich the entire community and the 30,000 residents who live within a mile of the proposed multi-purpose Greenway. This is Other Perspectives. Ariel, why don't you start us and let us know something about how and why you got involved, 3 of you got involved in this project.
Well, we're all in our last year now as landscape architecture candidates, and we are in the School of Natural Resources and Environment, which has a requirement for doing a real-world project with real-world clients. And the Conservancy came to the school to present this project, and we all signed on because we really wanted to do something to give back and contribute to making Ann Arbor the best place it could possibly be, because we really have grown to love it since we've lived here.
Oh. And Alice, why did the Conservancy go to the students? Why do they want the students to consider this project?
I think everyone knows how much the university and the students who come here to attend really mean to Ann Arbor and are a big part of what makes it Ann Arbor. And so while I've watched and participated in all of the progress presentations of this practicum team, it's been really exciting to see the professionalism and the energy and the imagination that they bring to a project we've been talking about for some time.
Ah, wonderful. So now, Ariel, are you going to start us off and give us an introduction to your project?
Yes, I'd like to start off talking about some of the general benefits that the Greenway can bring to the city. Everyone watching the show knows how great the city is. It has vibrancy, it has wonderful livability, and it's a center of sustainability in Michigan. And we believe that the Greenway can enhance the vibrancy of the city by bringing economic vitality. It can enhance the sustainability of the city by really bringing wonderful quality of environment, and it can enhance the livability of the city by really bringing some wonderful aspects to its quality of life. So on this slide, you can see here the downtown Main Street and the Huron River, and we believe that these 3 aspects of the Greenway are the sort of keystone on which we've centered our designs. So for instance, in 2005, there was a study done by Ross business students which showed that over a 30-year period, the Greenway could bring over $30 million of benefit to the city through sustainable redevelopment, that it could anchor throughout the downtown core, and it can also serve as an amenity which can attract young professionals to really keep Ann Arbor vibrant, economically vital through the future. In terms of the quality of our environment, the downtown has some contaminated properties which the Greenway could help to clean up and remediate. And the Greenway also will address water quality issues and bring in some native habitat for some birds and bees in the downtown area. And finally, it really will bring a wonderful amenity for the residents of the city to walk and bike and jog. And also, it can serve to enhance people's psychological well-being. There have been studies done that show that experiencing green space really enhances both physical and mental well-being.
All right. So now, are we about to hear about the route?
Right. We'd like to start out with just a bit of a route overview to get everyone oriented.
Good. Very good.
So
Do
if
we have a slide?
Yeah, we can bring up this map.
We have a map that you're going to show. So there it is.
So what you see here is the Greenway route is that dark green line running across your screen. And north is to your left. Down on the south side of Ann Arbor, you see the U of M golf course, Michigan Stadium. At the bottom of your screen is the Old West Side and West Park. To the top of your screen is the downtown and the University of Michigan. And then on the left side of your screen, you see the Huron River at Argo Dam. And one of the things you might notice while you're looking at this route is in the light green, there are the existing parks. And there's a serious lack of parks in the downtown area. And one of the goals of the city of Ann Arbor is to try and get more people to live downtown. So one of the best ways to do this is to provide them with access to open space, and the Greenway route will help to give them that access.
So we're looking at all that green space, and so how is the Greenway different from, just a long string of sidewalks?
Well, I think one way to look at it would be that it's more of a linear green space. It's a corridor. It's maybe a linear park would be another way to look at it.
Okay, very good, very good. And now, what would you like next? Is next to be Jordan? Are you going to, or do you want to get a bit more?
There's a bit more.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No,
but
it's
because
no problem.
for our viewers, you should know that really what you're getting is their master's project presentation. And so I don't want to interrupt that. Go ahead.
Okay, so just a little bit more orientation. Show you, yeah, there we go. So again, like I said, the green line on your screen is the Greenway route. And that route was actually previously identified by a group of professionals. And it is the Ann Arbor Railroad right-of-way, which is a low-traffic rail corridor. It gets 1 to 2 trains per day. The train has to go very slow because of the population and the number of intersections. But the Greenway actually follows that route, and along the route there are 3 city-owned parcels that you can see in the darker green. And those city-owned parcels have been identified by the Conservancy and others for potential inclusion as more traditional park spaces into the Greenway. One of the big challenges about this whole project is all of the different areas that the Greenway passes through. The stadium and the downtown, and then the section closer to the river. It's a challenge to really maintain a consistent character along the entire Greenway route. So there were a lot of things to take into account to make something that was more than just a path. We wanted to make a place. So if we could go to the next map. So some of the things that we had to account for were the history of the area. And Allen Creek, you can see it's basically where the blue is on the screen. But the history of that area was characterized by 19th century industry. And in the 1920s, flooding and water quality degradation had become an issue. So the solution was to put it in a pipe. And you can see that's a typical pipe for what it is, that 10-foot box culvert.
So a culvert is the pipe.
A culvert is the pipe. That is what the river flows through.
And that is really the size of a room. It's 10 feet.
It's quite large.
So we're not moving that.
No, and one of the other things is, believe it or not, that is full when we get large rain events. And as you can see here too, there were 1968 was the most recent flood. There was also another one previous that caused a lot of damage. And since that pipe is at capacity, we tried to make flood control, we wanted to incorporate flood control into our project. But when we started looking at it, we looked at some analyses done by both the city and the county, and it turns out that the Greenway is a little bit too far downstream within the greater drainage basin in order to mitigate large volumes of water. So we've really tried to focus a lot on water quality issues, as Ariel had mentioned. Something else you might see on this map is the darker blue is called floodplain, and the lighter blue is called floodway. And basically what that means is that the development in those areas is restricted on the federal level. So for example, the YMCA, it was built up on stilts because it's within the floodway.
And floodway means the water is moving. Is that correct?
Right. It's basically regulated by FEMA.
Okay.
And it's to ensure that during a flooding event, water discharges and drains properly. So it doesn't just sit around. So that area must be maintained open, which actually is one of the great reasons for putting a greenway here, is that it's actually one of the preferred uses because it can absorb stormwater and increase that water quality, as we talked about.
Well, and also, as you pointed out, the old west side is highly developed and really filled with impervious surface. So your plan is to balance that as much as you can with pervious surface so that there can be drainage, amenity plus an environmental.
Exactly. So just a few other things that we looked at is, in addition to looking at how that water moved, we used a GIS, which is computer software, to perform our analysis. And we looked at things like topography and how water moves and distance from the railroad in order to ensure safe trail design, because it is, after all, an active corridor, even though the train moves very slow. And actually what you'll see up on the screen right now is one of the other key factors in this project, the regional connectivity. So right in the center, you can see that little green spur. That is the Allen Creek Greenway. The purple is the county's border-to-border trail, which is currently about 18 miles long, and the ultimate goal is to go from end to end in the county and provide non-motorized transportation connections between some of the cities in this area.